Welcome to the Homestead How-To with Simply Soul Homestead. Today we're going to teach you how to make soap using goat milk. So we have all of our tools here. Go ahead and grab everything you need and we're going to get started. Tell them your names.
Hey, I'm Eliza. And I'm Ezekiel.
And I'm Brittany. Welcome to the Homestead How-To. Okay, so we're going to show you everything we have here that you're going to need to make soap. We are outside because we're working with lye.
Y'all need water.
So, hang on one second. So you want to be careful. We have aprons on. We're going to use latex gloves. When I'm doing the lye, I'm going to make them step away just to be safe because it is a chemical reaction. You're going to need two separate things. We're going to be mixing a lye and water and goat milk mixture. We're also going to be mixing oils. And eventually we're going to put them together and create our soap. So I need one microwavable bowl where I can melt all of my oils together. Yep, we're going to need water. So the oils we need are going to be olive oil. Do you remember what this one's called?
I think that it's called cacao bars.
Cacao butter, cocoa butter, comes in little pellets. You can check out our Amazon list for everything you need for making soap. It'll have all these things on it, so you can grab those. And you'll need coconut oil. So we are going to melt all these two solids down and mix all of these up in this bowl. And then over here, we have lye, we have water, we have our gloves. If you have goggles, you could wear those for just protection because it's a chemical reaction. You're gonna need a thermometer. You're also gonna need goat milk. So we have some frozen goat milk. We prefer it frozen so the lye doesn't burn your milk. So we've frozen it from milking our goat earlier in the fall or in the summer. Nope. It's still in the freezer. It's still in the freezer. I'll pull it out in a few minutes and show y'all. So we're going to need a thermometer because we have to get the lye to a certain temperature. You need a scale to measure all of these out. You can find the recipe fully below. And then you'll need an immersion blender. I bought this $15 one off of Amazon so that I don't have to use my food one on soap. And then you'll also need something to pour them into to make your bars. You can get silicone molds. These are wooden and silicone. You could also use a glass bread pan. I've done that before if I just wanted to use what I have at home. So go ahead and gather your stuff and let's get started mixing our lye. Go ahead and get gloves on and everything and we'll get started.
I need gloves.
Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys to take a second and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps our family so much and we appreciate it so much. Subscribe, save, and make sure to follow along on this journey. Now let's get to making soap. So I'm getting my gloves on. We're going to go ahead and measure out the lye. We're going to pour our water. This is 4.8 ounces of water that we've already measured into our large bowl. This is going to be our lye bowl. And then I'm going to measure in this little thing 3.8 ounces of lye. And we're going to mix that in. So you want to pre-measure everything. I would not measure this straight into the water because you just want to make sure you have an exact amount. It is a science making soap, so you want to make sure you do it well. I've done it before where it did not work out.
For our soap?
Yep, this is for your bath. Okay, so I have the lye measured out.
Soap when I go to the bath?
I have the lye measured out. I'm going to pour it into the water. So one thing you want to know is you always pour the lye into the water, never the other way around. Never pour water over lye. The reaction is different. It's not what you want. So we are going to pour this in. I'm going to stay away from it so that my face isn't over it since I don't have anything over. The kids are staying away just to be safe. We're going to pour it in. You will notice it is kind of neat because it does make a heated reaction. So you can see steam coming off of it. You can put your hand over and feel heat coming off of it, which is really crazy. And so now that it's mixed, we're going to keep this in. If you have one that sticks to your bowl, it's way better than this, but you want to get your temperature to 120 degrees before you add in your goat milk, frozen goat milk. You feel that?
Yeah.
Yep. It's hot. It would burn you. Be careful. All right. Okay, so I'm measuring it right now shortly after I added the lye to the water, and it is at 186 degrees Fahrenheit. So we want it to get down to 120 before we add in our frozen goat milk because we don't want it to burn it and then it will cause our soap to turn brown and things like that. So we are going to let this cool off. Another reason why we're outside, so it can cool off, the steam can come off, and So let yours cool while you begin to mix the oils. Okay, so we are going to take our oils inside to a microwave to slowly begin to get those melted. We're going to start with the cacao pellets. And so Ezekiel, if you want to take the cacao pellets and pour them into the big bowl, we can go begin to melt it. Once we get that melted a little, we will pour in the coconut oil and get that melted as well. But the coconut oil will melt way faster than the cacao. So we're going to start with the cacao. So we'll be back to show you it melted.
Hey, we're back and our cacao is almost melted.
All right, so that is 4.8 ounces of cacao butter. The bees really like it. It smells very chocolatey, doesn't it? Kind of makes you want to eat it, but it is not sweet like chocolate. But now we're going to take the coconut oil. So we have 10.2 ounces of coconut oil. Eliza's going to pour it in and mix that up, and we're going to take that to mix it, to melt it in the microwave. And the cacao, you see there's still some of the little nibs still are not fully melted, but that's okay. I did it probably between 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes and stirred it every 20 seconds to get it to where it is now. So we're gonna go do the same thing and get all of this melted in before we add in the olive oil.
Now it's time for the olive oil.
All right, so she's gonna pour in our 10.2 ounces of olive oil right into that melted cacao butter and coconut oil. Let's go ahead and pour that in. I had to heat that up another about 1.5 minutes to get all of the cacao butter melted down and the coconut oil. So now we have our oil base here. If you want to add any essential oils or scents, you would add it in now. But we are just going to keep it as a pure bar and see how we like just the plain goat milk soap. Okay, so while that oil is all mixing together, we're just going to test this out and see what the temperature is at. Because we're outside, it's going to lower a lot more. Right now it's showing 125. So we just need to, 129. Okay. So we want to get it down to 120. We're going to let it sit a little bit longer. We're going to go ahead and measure out our goat milk, our frozen goat milk. So we'll go get that and show it to you. Okay, so here is our goat milk. It's frozen. When we were milking our goat in the summer before we had our baby, we froze some because we knew we wanted to make milk. So I'm going to use this bowl, and they're little unicorns from a little mold we have. So you can also make soap in these like cute little silicone molds like this unicorn one. We froze our milk in it. We need 4.8 ounces of frozen milk. 4.8 ounces of frozen goat milk. We're going to put this back in the freezer, get the lye down to where it needs to be, and we will mix it together and show y'all how to make your soap.
Our lye and water are down to 120
degrees. So this is at the exact temperature it needs to be. So now we're going to add in our goat milk soap. Our frozen goat milk, and let the lye mixture begin to melt it. And it's going to begin to melt down, which is what we want it to do. And once it has melted down, well, I want you to be careful. Once we add our oils to it, we will begin to use our immersion blender and make it into our soap that we can pour into our mold. So let this melt down, and then we'll add in the oil. Okay, so this is what our soap, our goat milk and lye mixture looks like. Okay, so we have our goat milk and lye water mixture ready. We're going to pour our oil in, and we are going to begin to use our immersion blender to make it nice and thick. It should become like a thick pudding once we're doing it. It's called bringing your soap to trace, is what it's called. Press it. At this point, you're going to use your immersion blender for a while, a couple minutes probably, to get it to come to trace. You will notice that your soap mixture will start to thicken up, and it will also, if you lift the blender up, you should see drops drop back in, but they'll not fully go down into the mix. They'll almost sit on top of the mixture. That's how you know your soap has gone to trace. And then this is the point, if you want to make your soap a different color, I've used powdered maca powder or a dragon fruit powder, things like that, to add color to my soap to keep it natural but make it fun. You can split it in half and do part of it white or part of it a color, and you will put it on in your soap mold separate or as all one color, but the color right now will mix into it well and allow it, as it becomes trace, will allow it to become a different color. You will see now that our soap has come to trace. It is thicker, it's more like a pudding. You can see the marks in it as we blend it. Now it is ready to go into the molds. The thicker you get it, the more you will get those pretty shapes at the top of your soap if you want to add that to it. But now it is ready to go into our molds. So these are the molds that are on our Amazon list, but like I said, you can use any handmade molds, any just silicone molds that have different shapes in them, or the first time I ever made soap, I used a glass bread pan. Do not use metal or it will peel the metal off of it. You want to use a glass one. But you can see the thickness in the top of the soap here, and then I'm making a few marks in it with my spoon just to make it more fun and to look like that handmade soap look. Now we're also going to have a little bit of fun with our soap and add some toppings to it. You can do this if you want. Also, before you pour, you can also add things like coffee grounds to your soap. Okay, so we are going to decorate the tops of ours. You can see it came to trace really well because it has the little indentions in it and it didn't move. It's like a thick pudding that holds its texture.
We also have some flowers.
We have some straw flowers that we grew and we dried out. And Eliza's going to put those on her bars of soap. So each one of these little boxes will make about 4 bars of soap. So this recipe, you could probably make 5 bars, but we're going to make them kind of thick. This recipe will make about 8 bars of really thick soap. Stick them down there just enough where they stick. You might have to push them down a tiny bit.
Does that look cute?
Yep, that's looking good. Yep, just push it down a little bit. Where it hardens, it will stay. So at this point, once you are done with your bars, you will put them in a cool, dry place to cool for 24 hours before you cut them. Do not wait and cut them after 24 hours or they will get too hard to cut. And then you will let your bars of soap cure in a cool, dry place for 6 weeks before you begin using it. That is so that the lye chemical can cure and not burn. If you got some of this on you and you wash your hands while making soap, you might notice it burns a little bit or tingles. That will go away, but you definitely want to let your bar of soap cure for 6 weeks so that you can wait and use it when it is all ready and the chemical has reacted and the bars have hardened. I hope you enjoy your goat milk soap as much as we do.